YouTube! It's late and I'm wearing a bathrobe. This is in fact the latest I've done a YouTube video for a very, very long time, but I just gotten bitten by the bug again. I feel like talking at the camera or at someone, and there's no one around handy at the moment who wants to listen to me babble on about nothing, so the camera will have to do. Really what I want to talk about in this video is certain cultural presumptions and how so many human beings within particular cultures lack the ability, or rather the willingness, to perceive or cogitate beyond those cultural parameters. In particular, I really want to talk about cultural presumptions with regards to metaphysics and religion and the conflation of those two things. Now, what really bothers me in this instance is that so many of us in operation here on YouTube, so many of us in wider Western cultures, we operate under the auspices, under the culturally entrenched, the historically entrenched presumption that metaphysics and religion are not only congruent but inherent, sort of intrinsic to one another, that one cannot exist without the other, that when one starts talking about metaphysics, one is automatically talking about theism, one is automatically talking about very specific religious beliefs or systems, which is simply not the case. As any examination of ancient metaphysics or of current metaphysics will demonstrate, metaphysics is a separate but related arena, but which can operate entirely separately from religion. The problem is that because of the power structures and their pervasiveness within the history of our cultures, they have established themselves as the exclusive authorities upon metaphysics, and they have made it so that metaphysics cannot really be discussed without referencing them, even if it's just to reject them, which is a great pity. They've made it so that people automatically presume that when you start talking about metaphysics, you are automatically talking about God or religion or hairy-fairy magic and miracles and all of that nonsense, which is simply not the case. Simply not the case. As a philosophical idea, all metaphysics refers to is that which is beyond the immediately quantifiable, that which is beyond the physical. And by that I don't mean some hairy-fairy supernaturalism, magic, New Age spirituality nonsense. No. What I'm talking about is the arena of abstraction and metaphors, the arena of ideas and dreams and thoughts and feelings and all of this stuff. That's metaphysics. By definition, it's the exploration of the experiential, if you like, and it's a very valid arena of intellectual exploration, if you like. It's where philosophy operates, it's where imagination operates, and so on and so forth. It's also where things such as morality and empathy derive from. It's very important in that regard. It's a very good catch-all term for the generally experiential. And yes, I know that all of these things can be explained or quantified in terms of their biochemical effects, in terms of the external stimuli and the effects within human biochemistry that result in the emotions and the thoughts, and that inform metaphysics. Yes, I know that. But to respond or to dismiss metaphysics on that basis is to completely misunderstand what it is. In the same way that you get people, there are lots of particularly atheists here on YouTube who piss me off to the nth degree when you talk to them about something like love, for example, and they'll say something along the lines of well, love can be explained as a biochemical imbalance, blah 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 blah. Well, yes, in terms of the quantifiable effects that the experience of love has on human biology, or the human biological phenomena that result in the experience of love, yes, but that doesn't tell you anything about the human experience of it, because that experience is abstract. The manner in which we interpret that experience and the significance that it has to us as abstract entities, as consciousnesses, that explanation tells you fuck all about it and demonstrates a complete misunderstanding of what the experience of love, or the experience of the numinous, of the epiphanic, of the moving, and what I would call the genuinely miraculous really is. And that annoys me, because that is as derivative, it is as reductive as the religious response, which is to say that everything, all of these things are as a result of some divine intervention, as a result of the experience of this god or that god. From the religious, what you will get is this presumption that if you don't believe in hairy-fairy magic and their particular set of stories and miracles and gods and monsters and angels and demons and things, then you can't have these experiences, or you can't appreciate them in a manner that is as fulfilling or as interesting or as important as it is to them, which is entirely not the case. What happens when you remove that set of filters in your mind, those impositions, those parameters by which you are required or obliged to filter the experience? You are left with the experience itself, and you are left with the responsibility of determining its significance, which is why I can see something absolutely wonderful, like a stunning fuck-off thunderstorm, a rainstorm or something like that, which always gets me. I enjoy that sort of thing. Images of nature in particular I find to be particularly impressive, numinous and moving. Works of art, poetry, music, and all of that's the stuff that moves us on a metaphysic level. It's why I can see that, I can experience those things as an atheist and be transformed by them, I would argue, in ways that the religious cannot. Simply because religion, by definition, places parameters and blockades upon that experience. It says, yeah, you can transgress, but only this far. It will not allow you, it will not allow the experience to push you beyond this particular set of presumptions. It provides a straitjacket of experience. And in that regard, religion is actually crippling to what I would consider genuine metaphysic experience. Utterly crippling to it, because the metaphysic, by definition, the operation within, pardon me, I've just had supper, I've just had toast, which is why I'm burping. The experience within the abstract is all about transgression. It's about experiencing things and operating in arenas that allow you to transcend your parameters as a human being, as a consciousness, as a personality. That's what it's about. It's about evolution. It's about evolving consciousness. And this is something that religion can be, or rather some of the presumptions within religion, or some of the imagery within religion, or the ideas within religion, can be used as vehicles for by particular types of mind, but which it generally isn't used for. Religion is generally an imposition. It's the imposition of certain presumptions of knowledge and of absolutism that place massive parameters and blocks upon this kind of experience. You cannot, as a if you define yourself as a Christian, for example, in any particular way, you can only go so far until you hit that point where your belief in Christianity comes into question, or your belief in the very particular form of or presumption of God that you operate under comes into question. Then you have to stop. And that's a problem. You can never say, well, maybe this God is wrong, or maybe Jesus isn't what I think he is, or maybe the writers of the Bible were incorrect, or were under some misapprehensions in this particular way or that particular way. And that's a problem with regards to what I would consider genuine metaphysics. It's a massive problem. Whereas because I'm an atheist at the present time, I don't operate under those parameters. Just because I currently define myself as an atheist doesn't mean that I can't consider notions of gods and divinities and all of that sort of thing. And if I came across an experience that led me to not believe as such, I wouldn't need to believe if I could somehow experience its existence. But if I came across an experience that served as evidence for the existence of such entities, then I could allow myself to do that. That's the interesting thing, but I wouldn't be imposing any particular presumptions upon those entities. I would have to take them as they are and learn about them just as they would have to learn about me. There would be some equal footing. There would be what I would consider a genuine relationship there, which is why I always have to laugh when I hear fundamentalists and evangelicals talking about a relationship with God. They don't have a relationship with God. What they have are relationships with aspects of themselves that they label God. The idea of God that they promote isn't interested in relationships. It's interested in imposition, in telling them what they are, what they should think, what they should feel, what they should believe. And it's not, obviously, it's not any external notion of God. It's them. It's their own consciousnesses. It's parts of their own consciousness that they've enshrined as God, because then it absolves them of responsibility for considering what that tells them to do or to feel or to think or whatever. It's a kind of synthetic imposition of personality that you have with your fundamentalists and your evangelicals and whatnot. It's a kind of metaphysic cowardice, if you like, and it's corrosive to genuine metaphysics, to genuine evolution of thought and of feeling and of personality. So yeah, that's I think that's what I wanted to say. I'm not sure whether I went anywhere with that, but I hope somebody gets something out of it. Ta-ta!